Ouch, man.
तुझे क्या हुआ?
I was riding the Yamaha R15 V3, yaar.
You need to be fit, man, not fat for that.
That is true, but it still doesn't mean riding the Yamaha R15 V3 is not fun. And now it comes with a whole lot of tricks up its sleeve. The Yamaha has bolted on a 155cc single-cylinder liquid-cooled engine. What's so special about this engine is the new VVA, that stands for Variable Valve Actuation. Hang on, so let's make sure you understand this. The VVA or Variable Valve Actuation system works on the principle of a high cam and a low cam. Okay, so let me make this a little simple for you. The VVA gives the rider access to adequate torque throughout the rev range. It uses a dual cam setup, one for the low range and one for the high range. The change in cam takes place at 7400 RPM. So this engine puts out approximately 50 Newton meters of torque at 8500 RPM. The buildup of torque is pretty fast and sharp. For most of the range from 3000 to 9000 RPM, the torque figures hover around somewhere above the 12 Newton meter mark. When you compare this with the previous version of the bike, the buildup of torque was sharp, but it happened after 5000 RPM. So the power buildup is linear and steady. The revs build up in a smooth manner and the engine dishes out a sweet 19.3 PS of power high up in the band at 10,000 RPM. Just so you know, the new version of the R15 is more powerful than the previous version, which offered around 16.6 PS of power at 8500 RPM. The bike comes built on the same Delta box frame but is now 20 mm longer, 55 mm wider, 65 mm taller, and the seat height has been set at 815 mm, which is 15 mm more than the previous version of the motorcycle. The wheelbase on the R15 V3 has decreased by 20 mm in contrast with the previous model, but the overall curb weight is up by 3 kgs over version 2. Fuel tank capacity on this motorcycle stands at 11 litres, so that will also give it a decent range. Why would you care about kitna deti hai? This thing is as quick as a whistle, man.
Well, if you really want to know.
So as per our tests, this bike will return anywhere between 43 to 47 kmpl. That is, if you behave yourself and ride it in a sane way. It is also something that this bike will tempt you not to do. Gear shifts are nice and crisp on this motorcycle. In fact, this is probably the best gearbox in this segment. Shifting has never felt this good. Yamaha is also offering an assist and slipper clutch on the R15 V3, so the bike doesn't lose traction when you downshift and the engine wear is also minimized. Braking on this motorcycle is facilitated by disc brakes in the front and in the rear. The front gets a 282 mm dual pot caliper brake while the rear gets a single pot caliper 220 mm disc brake. Now the front calipers are by Bharat while the rear caliper is by Nissan. These brakes are pretty effective in getting the bike to a stop when you need them to and gives the rider adequate feel. This motorcycle handles like a dream. In fact, when you commit it to a corner, it will take that corner out with ease. So the front features a conventional telescopic fork suspension with 130 mm of travel, while the rear gets a swing arm with about 97 mm of travel. The swing arm is also slightly broad to accommodate the 140/70 R17 tires in the rear. So while the R15 is super slick on a track, it's not always going to be ridden on a racetrack. So the suspension leans a shade towards the softer side. It does take care of most undulations and bumps at high speeds rather well, but it's the ditches that you really need to be careful of. This bike also comes with 170 mm of ground clearance, so it clears most breakers with ease. Another thing that I need to mention is my back. In fact, that is because of the aggressive riding posture on the R15. Now, if you're riding in the city, it's fine. For highways and long jaunts, no. Yamaha is also offering an LED light setup for the headlights, auxiliary light and tail lamps. The LCD instrument cluster displays a digital speedometer, tachometer, multifunction display, VVA indicator light and a fuel gauge. So the rider gets a broad seat, the cushioning is also great, but the pillion seat is not as broad or as long. That said, the pillion seat definitely feels a lot more comfortable than the previous version of the motorcycle. There is, however, one problem, that there are no grab rails. I would not recommend you hang on to this. Instead, there is a strip here, you can hang on to this. To look at, this bike is sleek. It has a razor sharp design with a neat blend of muscular design lines on the fairing. The tank is muscular and makes it comfortable to crouch in. What adds to a bit of sporty flair on the motorcycle are the slats on the tank. The thin LED lamps up front draw inspiration from the bike's elder siblings. The exhaust looks stocky and produces a decent grunt. Over in the rear, there are floating panels that add a modern touch with a vertical LED stop lamp rounding up a crisp design towards the rear. So to sum things up for you, the R15 is quite a looker. In fact, it packs a powerful performance and also brings in a healthy dose of technology on the mechanical front. So for the asking price of 1.26 lakhs, is it worth the money? From a performance perspective, hell yeah. But from a comfort perspective, only if you're riding it in the city and only if you are in shape. Would I buy it? Maybe when I drop 15-20 kilos. If you did like this video, please remember, like it, share it and subscribe. And if you haven't done it yet, hit that bell icon to stay updated for all the latest action from the automotive industry. Thanks for watching, and until the next time, bye-bye.